And now, this week's edition of Big Face with your host, Samantha Jane Tilton.
Hey guys, welcome to Big Face. You are here today with me and my lovely host, a vocal butterfly mining her world for gold, Jenna Robino. Welcome to Big Face.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm like, the hair already is that we're going to break the internet with this, the beauty, the smarts, the hair, the wisdom.
I can't with this already.
I don't know about you, but I think this one will have the most views out of all of them.
Out of all. What's up, other guest? Beat that.
I didn't watch
Just
all
kidding.
of it. I'm 27 and that's pretty fucking amazing.
And I loved you all. But nobody's Jenna. So wait, I want to first start with, so guys out there, I always ask my guests, I don't like to know too much before jumping into talking to them. Maybe I know them, maybe I don't, but either way, I like to cover new ground. I know Jenna through acting and casting, but I always ask my guests to tell me how they want to be introduced, whether they're an actor or a writer or, whatever. And Jenna chose that. And I want to ask you about it. So, a vocal butterfly mining her world for gold. Yeah. Tell me what that means to you, because it's beautiful.
Well, the evolution of your question, I thought, actor doesn't feel right to me. It's never felt right. If I'm a tree, it's one of my branches. Yes, it's one of those things. But I think labels for me, it limits what I am. So when I see myself as this beautiful butterfly, and I'm floating to all these different things. But butterflies have a very short lifespan, so I'm not just going to die. But I love how it represents transformation. I'm always transforming. And the vocal part is a little bit of the voiceover, the VO.
I want to talk about that. Yeah, we have so much. Go ahead.
I actually bought the domain Vocal Butterfly because that's kind of like my next upgrade for the career, the whatever. So that just authentic to me. I'm a vocal butterfly and I'm always looking at the world to mine the gold, to find the beauty. I'm a beauty seeker. I'm collecting ideas and inspiration all the time. That's my full-time job. And then transforming the shit into gold. I have that on my business card, turning shit into gold since 1994, because that's what I've been doing. That's all this life is just being your own alchemist. And then on Instagram, that's where I do a lot of just like silly stuff in the moment. I'm always talking to my camera and it's very real and genuine.
I know that with you.
Yeah. I don't put any filters on it. And so I delete a lot of stuff, because sometimes I'm just like, I just had to get that out of my system. It's just like a compulsion, But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I do feel like I'm a reluctant actor with that label.
It's so interesting how labels, it's a word, right? And it took me, I remember telling somebody that my dream was to act and I never pursued it. And then it was like, they told me, start calling yourself an actor. I'm like, I can't call myself an actor. I've never done anything. I haven't acted since I was a kid. And they're like, call yourself an actor because you have to believe it. So it's so interesting how powerful a word can be, but how it can also be limiting.
Well, there's intention behind the words we say, right? So when I'm going to meet you in audition, I'm putting on the role of an on-camera actor.
Yep.
Okay, I'm putting on the role of a voiceover artist and I'm owning that. I'm committing to that. But once I leave that office, I'm Jenna. I'm a citizen. I'm walking to the subway. I'm part of community. I'm different things, Yes. I'm a daughter. I'm all this stuff. But we know it's just when you turn it on and when you turn it off, because being an actor is an incredible vocation and it is hard fucking work.
It is such hard work. It is such hard work. But it's so interesting because I started doing all of this because I started acting. And then I found out I was a director and I found out I was a writer and I found out that I have all these things within myself that if I just limited myself to just one word, one thing, I would have never found any of it.
You're all of those things. And it's like this gateway drug. Acting is a gateway drug to all these different things. Like I majored It is. I went to a high school and I got involved with theater because I had all these characters inside of me, and it was just this great outlet for me. I did
Yep.
choir, I sang, and then people were like, "Oh, you're so good at this. Why don't you major in this in college?" And so I did that, and I stage design and producing and directing, and theater just was just an umbrella. There were all these
Yep.
different things underneath it, and it's like, oh, I love the production aspect of it. I
Huh.
love the creative process.
Yep.
You're an actor, my gosh, you just get off on the creative process. Everybody's
Mhm.
different, but I think you can relate to this. You love the process and the people and just putting it together and making.
Now I do. Now I do more. Not even always, but the pain of like there's a couple of things, like the pain of the struggle with the self, and the process has at times been unbearable to get to this point of enjoying the process and like opening who I am.
What was that for you? What was that moment where you shifted from the pain, then turning into maybe the pleasure, where you dropped that and it just started to, you embraced it, or something just?
It's not, and it's not a concrete thing. It's not in always, it's still a battle. It's not a battle. It's a dance.
The dance.
Now it's a dance. Every day the dance moves change. Sometimes, we're stepping on each other's feet. My self-love and my self-hate. Sometimes it's like man, I'm twirling my ass around in self-love. You know, it varies depending on the day, but I think it was the more I stopped giving a shit, the more I started owning. When I started directing and teaching, something shifted for me where I went. Somebody I'm very close with, I said the other day, I said, I'm a damn good teacher. I'm a fucking great teacher and director. And they were like, and I don't talk like that about myself. I am hard on myself, which I want to talk to you about. But something happened where I'm like, I have worth.
Yeah.
And it's not up to me.
Yeah. Those moments are really powerful when you like stand up inside of yourself and you're like, I'm fucking awesome at this. I'm great at this. And then after I do that, I go, crap, I said that statement. It's like after saying yes to this interview, I reached out to you being like, I want to share this with you. I want to have a conversation. And then after that, I went, oh, Jenna, you're going to, do you have shit together enough for this? Do you think it's really time? Maybe you should wait a little bit more.
It is. And that's the thing. I think we all do that. And it's like, yes, I'm so glad you went with your instinct. I'm so glad you reached out. It was like, hell yeah, we're doing this. So lovely to hear from you. And so, Jenna, you're somebody that like, so we've crossed paths in casting and in acting, and you really do. You always seem like you have your crap together. And I'm always like, how did she get, because it's been a process for me. How did she get to here? How is she doing it freely, actively working with this person, that person? It's obvious you stand in your shoes and you own your space, and it's really evident in every time I see you. And you're genuine and likable. How much of that is couple questions. How much of that is putting on the I'm working in a casting office face? How much of that is I'm an actor going into an audition face? How much does it match your insides?
It's a great question. First of all, I have lots of crap. I'm very aware of my crap. Very aware of the crap that I have.
Yes.
That is my crap. It's not your crap. It's my crap. And depending on the day, it's either big or small or whatever. Sometimes it smells, sometimes it doesn't. But keep that shit under wraps. So I think I question sometimes if I am multiple personalities because it's never been diagnosed. But I am one of those creatures where I'm very adaptable. And my energy, whatever the container is, whatever the energy that's in that container, I mold to it. It's the chameleon in me. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a little girl. So if it's a casting
So
office,
interesting.
I am, and this is, I have loved the casting journey meeting you, and I recommend to all actors, to anybody, to experience working in casting.
Yep.
Find that casting director you vibe with and ask them, can I be of service? Can I help lobby assist one
Yep.
day? Because interacting with actors and being in that process, there's such a fast volume to it, where I think my gift is I come in with a lot of genuineness and smiles and optimism, which
Yes.
people do not expect, because they've been used to seeing harsh, people just like, just fill it in, like, but in these casting offices, we're really nice for the most part. And if we're not, it's really nothing to do with you. It's because we're backed up. It's because people aren't doing the work and aren't just doing the basic things.
Yep.
I'm guilty of that. Other things.
It's hard.
But I think I'm just really, and I don't know if this is answering your question, I just think I'm really good at molding myself to fit whatever environment I'm in.
Do you absolutely do. Do you, and I guess I asked this because I identify with that, but for me, it's been a process. So I used to, and in many years of therapy, we used to call it like the smiley, because I would walk around even when I was dying inside, and I'd walk and I'd be like, hey, without even any kind of awareness. And I was on, everyone's like, you're so positive. You always have a smile on your face. And I was like deathly depressed. And then I would come back to myself after a day of being on, and I had abandoned myself. And so I felt even worse. Now it's very different. Now when I go somewhere, I could be like, I give myself permission to be, I'm in a bad mood today. I don't have to be perfect, and I should never be perfect, but I don't have to be on.
No.
I could just do just this, and that's still okay. And then as soon as I'm around people, everything shifts for me. But my question to you is like, so you're malleable.
Yeah. And I love that you give yourself permission now, because I know I've been around you, and I can sense, because it's somebody who also does that as well. I can sense when somebody's putting on a face. I can sense when somebody is being professional, doing the motion, but inside I'm dying. I'm dying inside. I'm dying inside. I'm questioning everything. I'm having the biggest identity crisis.
Yes.
Why am I here? What is this? What is this?
Yep.
I think as I get older, I'm starting to own the emotions and where I'm at. And I think we are more empathetic as artists. And I think this year has made us, hopefully I have seen, soften to one another, where we're at, checking in. How are you really? Mentally, how are you? I actually care.
I actually care.
And stopping to have that human moment before you go in and you get their audition. That's the thing. We have to inject humanity into our interactions with one another. You're having a sad day. Well, let me hold you. Let me just hold. That's what holding space is. It's like, I see your sadness and you're here. How fucking strong are you?
Exactly.
Amazing. And if it was too much, you could have called off sick or canceled that. And that's okay too. So great. Jenna's having a hard day mentally. How can the other people in our team help her and support her?
Yeah.
And it's learning what that looks like for all of us. And that's so beautiful that we can get to that place and call that out and be like, ooh, it's a struggle today. It's struggling, but I know what I need to do, X, Y, and Z, to be here with what I have and still give something. Because what you do, you're amazing. I have so much respect for casting rock stars like yourself. You're doing all the things.
Thank you. And you're always a rock star, whatever you bring yourself to. And you just spoke about just like there's always that line, right? Like owning your space, and you could be like, I'm dying inside, and showing up and having that support, being able to say to like a coworker, like, it's tough, I'm hanging in there, but it's a rough day. There's always that line of like being appropriate, being a version that is like set for that space. So I don't know if it's like this for you, but for me as an actor, I've gotten so good over the years in getting healthier, but that meant setting boundaries, not showing this to these people, not showing this, and learning how. So it's like almost for acting, unlearning how to be appropriate and boundaried, because I don't know, it blocks me. I don't know if that vibes for you at all.
Well, when I was listening to you, I thought of a moment in an audition where I was feeling very sad. I actually forget what I was feeling so sad about, but I remember crying in the audition room. I think, I don't know if there was a death or something, and the casting director was so lovely. She gave me a hug. She gave me a hug, and she related to how I was feeling. And for about 2 minutes, we just kind of talked a little bit about it. Because at that point, Sam, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to do my job right now, but it's really hard to do my job right now because of this. And it ended up being
so human.
Right. And I think as people, you just have to, it can be really exhausting. I believe in boundaries and all these things, but it can be really exhausting, all this like, but you're constantly managing energy and other people's energies. So it's that dance. You don't know until you do it, who the person is that you can even be that vulnerable with.
Right.
You learn a lot about people when you share your vulnerabilities. You learn who you're safe, what safe harbor you can go to, and what one's not. It's like, oh, because casting, yes, they're doing their job, but some of them, it's people at the end of the day. There's some people you vibe with and some people you don't.
Right.
But you got to do that work outside of it's really important that you do all that mental work outside the room. So when you come in, you really are aligned. And that's so important in our field. Like get the mental health tools, take care of that. So you're bringing your best version of yourself in that day.
Yep. 100%. 100%. It's amazing. You mentioned like developing yourself outside of just acting. And I think that's probably what you mean as well. But if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, when you go in auditions and they're like the interview part and they're like, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like what makes you interesting? And please don't let it be about acting. I love that part. I'm like, yes, okay. I'm going to talk about like my greeting card line. I'm going to talk about the hikes I've been on. I'm going to talk about the fact that I want to live in Rimini, Italy for a year with my friend Sierra. Like
you're so good, man. You're just like, that's awesome because you know what? As soon as that pressure's on, it's like people go like people are very interesting, but people go like what's interesting about me?
Yeah.
And you're like, there's a lot interesting about me.
So interesting. Like what flavor of ice cream you go towards.
Yeah.
Carrie's pumpkin pie ice cream. Like, oh my God, can I be an ice cream tester? That's amazing. Don't you just want, I love that part. I think having interests, building things, learning about different professions, surrounding yourself with people that don't do what you do. Yes. When I was in college, I was friends with people on the crew team, the science department, psychology department.
Yep.
I like reached my level of theater majors. I'm like, I can't. This is too much.
It's enough of this.
It's got to be a village, and there's got to be a little bit of everybody there.
It's true.
Just like a Unitown.
It's
a Unitown, which was a club in high school, and I was the president of it. Wasn't
really?
President of Thespians, actually. No, I wasn't the president of Unitown. I was just a member of it. I was the president of the Thespian Society.
Really?
Not to my, I didn't do that. My friend Ashley at the time, she, what is it? She recommended me or something. That's
amazing.
See, people, they initiate, they elect me, but I'm like a reluctant leader. But we are leaders. Inside, we are very strong.
Yes. Leaders. That's so interesting because I never consider myself a leader. And like, we are. It's so interesting. Can I ask you, there was something, so guys, before I interview people, before I have people on the show, I don't really talk to them before. I can ask Jenna. We're scheduling it on the phone. I was like, don't talk, don't say a word. Yeah. Save it. We'll talk on the show. But I just, in an email, just say if there's anything you definitely want to talk about or anything you definitely don't want to talk about. And there was just a few things that Jenna happened to just write bullet points that we might talk about. And there were some interesting things. Hence, Jenna's very interesting. But some of them really stood out to me. Most of them did. But one of them was surviving self-hatred. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that one hits home for me,
right? I love
quite strongly.
I love it. I can now say that, and I'm very happy that how far I've come to be able to say that. I have spent so many years hating on my body, hating the way I am, like my personality traits, my behavior quirks, wishing a lot of it was body. I mean, I struggle with an eating disorder for many, many years. From I'd say 8, it started to really sink in that I was a little bit bigger, and then it moved through high school, but it really flared in college, especially when it was the high pressure of being in school. So that
the coping mechanism, it's a means of control.
Yeah. And I really was trying to kill myself with food. It was food, it was binging late at night. It was trying to make myself invisible. I just was like, I wrote this piece for a blog many years ago. It's like, she was found dead underneath a pile of muffins. Like I would gorge myself with the biggest like I majored in carbohydrates. That was my major.
I get it.
To stuff it down. I didn't know what I was feeling. So I just kept stuffing it down. My voice. No wonder I'm a voiceover artist. It's all about this 5th chakra, baby. Freeing it. And I stuffed it for so many years. I know. Doesn't it give you the chills?
It really does.
The thing we're doing is what we're meant to do. And there's a reason why we went through all this shit. You know?
Exactly.
It makes you a richer person. Damn good artist, and you have to thank that stuff. You have to thank that hatred for coming. And what I realized was that once I started to befriend and look at those voices that were not true, and to start to follow the trail of where they originated, and to do that work, which I still do anytime I'm in conversation, when a limiting thought comes up, when a bully pops up in my head, we have that moment now. I feel like I say it's like you can stop. You have that conscious pause. Where's that coming from?
That awareness is everything. That awareness. Without the awareness, you can't do anything with it.
No, you're in a dark room and you don't know where the door is. Exactly. So like awareness is this flashlight and it points us to where the door is. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. So again, once you learn that awareness and those tools to unlock that stuff, you can dance with it. You can move throughout your life. And I think as artists, we're very hard on ourselves. I learned a lot this summer being around my family. I have, generational stuff. It gets carried over. Oh. And a lot of my family members very hard on themselves. And I go, okay, that's interesting. So I know that about my history. So I have a responsibility to help transform that. So that's stuff I work with my therapist about.
Yeah.
Every other week we connect, and these are things I bring to the table.
Yeah.
And hate, I've always, because there's that word, such a charged word.
Oh.
It's tossed around a lot, especially in this political cycle. And I'm always fascinated with, okay, so I always want to do a little digging. What we hate actually contains a lot of knowledge and wisdom. What is it about that person or that thing that I hate?
And it's usually, go ahead.
It's usually like things you don't like about yourself. It's
every time. It's now I have the awareness after many years of doing work on myself. And if somebody there's somebody that I worked with somewhat recently, and like they drove me effing crazy. Like I was like, yeah. And after like exploding, I was like, okay, this is not about them. This is about me.
Yeah.
It reminds me of me.
It reminds me of me.
That's why. And I, because I haven't found tolerance for myself, I have no tolerance for them. So it is me projecting all my crap onto this person.
And isn't it uncomfortable? It's so uncomfortable.
but courageous to choose to follow the awareness and to grow from it.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you do. You bring it to therapy. You bring that stuff that continues to come up to look at.
And you say, thank you silently. Thank you for showing up in
Mhm.
my life to show me what I need to look at. And in this field that we're in, we're surrounded by, we see hundreds of people every day.
Yeah.
We're in New York City. We're amongst hundreds of people. And there's so many great opportunities to help one another grow. Because that's the only way we grow is through relationship with one another.
Yep. There's somebody that I love that was kind of a spiritual mentor to me, and still around. And but he would always say, relationships are like pouring Miracle Grow. No, wait. Oh yeah. Relationships are like pouring Miracle Grow on your character defects.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you want anything to bring out all the deep-seated stuff, be in a relationship, any kind.
Chia. Yeah, that thing's gonna grow. And then I'm gonna add to that, and I think you're like this. Eckhart Tolle,
Yes.
he's like, if we could just treat our relationships as what's the word? Is it tools to help us become more conscious? You know, because season, reason, lifetime, people come and they go, and I've lost a lot of people this year in my life, in the past, you know, and it's devastating. It's hard, but now I'm really starting to reap the lessons. I've never felt so much painful growth in my life than from this year.
I'm with you.
I don't know about you. I think this year has been tremendous.
You know, you asked me earlier, like, what was the turning point for me? And the truth is that it's been very recently, and it's been during quarantine. It's been in this time that I've been forced to sit still with myself more than ever. I have no place to run to. And it has been excruciating. I've done therapy every week. I've done other work on myself. Damn, talk about self-hatred, self-worth, really on a whole, it's like peeling the onion, whole other level of stuff, whole other layer that I was not even aware.
Yeah.
And stuff I learned. And like this time has been like trying to figure out what's true, what's not. Who do I want to be? Not who did I learn I am?
Mm-hmm.
So this,
yeah.
What's that?
I love that. Who did I learn that I am? Because I've had to shed other people's thoughts of me so I could understand, oh, that's not true. That's actually not me. I correct people a lot when they assume things about me. I go, I didn't say
you.
That. I've been doing that more than ever.
That's amazing.
I'm
very serious. Wow.
Yeah. I'm learning how to help people learn how to love me and communicate, because I'm learning the tools. It's like being a companion to myself. I created this account. You'll love this. I created this IG account called Loving Me to Infinity. And I created it a couple months ago, and every day I go on it. It's about becoming a more loving companion to myself. Because I love that whole thing, like how you talk to a child. Would you say that to yourself? How it's just learning how to have more positive, kinder, compassionate self-talk.
Yep.
And it's okay also to have tough love. Like, get your ass up.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you need help, ask a friend or something. But you also, you don't want to have chemicals on, and you don't want to be a little firm with things. Yeah. I like both. I like gentle, and then I like firm.
And you know what?
In the bedroom and outside.
Amen.
Just had to.
Wow, we're so alike. It's insane.
Are we related? We might be related.
We're like definitely cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and that tough love voice has never worked for me because it triggers all those old things. But so instead of being tough, I choose to try and be accountable and structured. And I ask for support with that. So there's people that I'll be like, can you please help hold me accountable? It's only up to me. Bottom line, I have to do it.
Yeah.
But I can ask for support because I've learned I can't do it alone. I can't do almost anything alone.
Yeah, it's really hard to not have that support, that communal support, that person. But that word accountability. So I realized I had to start building self-trust and self-accountability, self-agency, because accountability was triggering me. Because I would always find a girlfriend, we'd like, let's hold each other accountable. And we'll check in every day, we'll check in every week, we'll do emails. And then I would always fall through the cracks. I wouldn't stay consistent with it. And then it would lead me down a spiral, even more self-hatred. Why can I not do this? I'm that person who, I want discipline, I want structure, but then you got the butterfly in me and the hummingbird that's just like,
Yep.
And I was not embracing that. I was trying, this is what I love about, Elizabeth Gilbert says there are two kinds of people. There are bulldozers and there are hummingbirds. When she said this, I cried. This was when her Big Magic book came out. She said the bulldozers are the one, like she identified with being a bulldozer. She's like, those are the ones that show up every day at the same time to do that thing, to write that book. They show up for the craft every day at the same time. I'm not that person. Then there's the hummingbird. You just kind of go from one thing to the next and you make the next thing better than the first thing. And in that moment, Sam, I was crying. I'm like, I have been trying to be a bulldozer. A jackhammer, not a bulldozer, a jackhammer. Jackhammer. Different energy. I've been trying to be a jackhammer and I'm a hummingbird.
I have the chills.
Right? And it just, I could breathe. It's like you just told me, when somebody tells you, it just freed me in so many ways. And that's what I'm like, wow. And even in our industry, people tell you so much what you need to be, what you need to do, who you got to go see, who you got to pay, and you're giving out your power to people that don't know you. You're entrusting them with all of this.
And they're just one person. Yes. Very.
And just embrace what you are. And I've always craved discipline and structure, but it's also just not who I am.
Yep.
And so I'll call on people in my life who have that and they help me. Those are the ones I want to stay accountable. I like that. I like that balance. I need those people. I can't be with another butterfly or a hummingbird.
Right. And which is why I think you said it before, like you like being around all different kinds of people. And I think it sounds to me a lot of how you're able to grow and change and find who you are and what works for you, because you try a little of everything and you continue to do that. You fly around.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
And I find you have to find those jackhammers that help you. I can't be around people that are just like me. I'm not going to get anywhere.
Yep.
You know, that sounds like I don't like people that have, but no, it's just, I know what works for me. And a lot of times I surround myself with people who have like Navy backgrounds, sports backgrounds, because there's a level of discipline within them that I really, really connect with and I really like.
It's so funny because I'm like that as well. And then do you know how many people within even the past year I've mentioned doing the artist's way with? And I'm like, let's be accountable to each other and let's do it. All these people have done the artist's way, have come and gone, and I didn't.
You did it or you didn't do it?
I did not.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I don't know what it's going to take. And I've found like easy does it. You know what? There's a lot of other stuff that I'm doing and I'm trying to I look at that, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And for whatever reason, I keep pushing. I keep trying to do the footwork, but I also try to put away the bat and then keep trying to, do the footwork and try and look at why did I not do it? Mm-hmm. Why am I resisting it?
Do you feel like sometimes I feel like now I'm in Arizona. I've been out of New York City since June. I popped in a little bit here and there. Since I've been outside of that environment, and this is not saying anything about New York City. This is just saying how much I was taking on mentally. I was overextending myself in so many directions. I didn't have the capacity to hold. I was taking on too much.
Yeah.
And it was affecting my relationships. It was affecting my mental health, everything. And I think we really just have to be very honest with ourselves, what we're able to take on and put on our plates. And there's a lot of pressure, no days off, always be grinding, always be doing something.
I know.
And yeah, but everybody has to figure out their radio station, like how many channels they want on that, Some days it's one, some days it's none. And 2020, a lot of it's just like, if I can get out of bed, put myself together, go out in the sunshine, I'm good.
Yep. Take the wins. And like, you know what? Yeah. There's a lot of, I identify with that. And there's a lot of compare and despair. I see other people and they have it all, they seemingly have it all together because they look like they accomplished this and they did that. We're not all on the same page. We're not all on the same frequency. And it's just, you have no idea what goes on inside and outside that person. Like, I don't.
The whole Rumi thing, I don't know if it's the Rumi quote, just be careful. Everybody's fighting a battle. Be kind. Be kind. You don't know what people are packing, You don't know. You don't know where they just came from. They have lost, they may have lost their dog moments ago. They may not be able to talk to their spouse at home. They may actually be blind, or that they have I have visual challenge. My mom, my brother are both legally blind. They don't appear that way, but you meet them and my mom, like a TJ Maxx, she'll forget that somebody's there, and I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, she didn't see you. But some people will be like, oh, she was so rude, she just didn't see you.
She just didn't see you. It's not all about you.
Yeah. And I
just say that to myself. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just we got to be really aware of that. People are going through their stuff. It's not about you most of the time. It's really not about you. No,
it's most often not about you. It's most often not about me, but I will that's a big thing during this time in quarantine. Oh my God, I saw how much I take on. If somebody doesn't or their response seems like this, I'm annoying. They don't like me. And all this, I give all this power to I don't text people back. Sometimes it takes me way too long. Has nothing to do with them. I actually care and would love to. It's on my list every day, but it may be 6 months.
Yeah.
That's my crap.
Oh, right there with you. That's why it's so hard for me to write a freaking email. Because it's just like tone, all these things. Is it the constellation? It's
oh my God.
I wish I didn't feel so much. Then I'd be in a coma.
You know what? It's funny because I say that I feel like I'm utterly sensitive, and it is a blessing and a curse. And so often I feel like it's a curse, but there are moments especially when I'm directing or teaching, where I see my students doing something and I am choked up to see their growth. And it's I care that much. And it's I'm so happy I am who I am. Cause it's funny. I've had students in my class it's a 6-week class, and I've only known them for the 6 weeks. And I cried after I got off my last class. Cause I was said to my boyfriend, I'm I really care about them. I'm so invested in their growing. And it's if I wasn't sensitive, I'd probably be all right, good. They did good work. I don't know. It's interesting.
It's, that's amazing that, wow, lucky kids to have you as a teacher. Lucky anybody that comes into your path. Because at the end of the day, it's am I doing my purpose? Am I living a life that gives me meaning? And you find the things that do. And if it feels unfulfilled, you just have to have a moment where you stop and course correct.
Yep.
You
asked me this question before, and now I want to put it back on you. You asked me what if I know the moment where things kind of clicked, and we talked a lot about your struggles over the years and then doing the work. Another thing you mentioned is how you manifested your career and your success.
Yeah.
And so I guess I want to know how we couldn't have a 14-hour show if we wanted, but
yeah, Joe Rogan, you can take the 14 hours.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, we'll catch up someday. But from all of that experience and all of that suffering and pain and all of that work, how did that turn into you manifesting your career and your success and being more comfortable in your skin and who you are and going after that, being with yourself?
Well, this is a really cool story. So I'm in my late 20s, I'm 27, 28. I'm finishing up my last couple weeks at Kripalu. It's a yoga and health center in Western Massachusetts. I have been living as a volunteer. I was a volunteer there for 6 months, which basically means you work for Kripalu and in return they give you meals and board.
Okay.
And I was in a bunk bed with like 19 other roommates. And then I became a production intern, which means I got my own little room, my own little real estate, so I could like protect my energy, because it was like being in the New York City of transformation. You got yoga teacher trainings. You got Deepak Chopra coming through. You got the rock stars of spirituality. You got Gabrielle Pilsey and all these people. And it was like people coming in and out, letting go of their ghosts, all this shit.
Wow.
Right?
Damn.
So I've tested myself in high frequency containers. Jesus. I'm surprised I'm still here. Okay, so it's the last 2 weeks and I see this program called Manifestation Yoga. And it's taught by this woman named Jennifer Pasloff. And I think she's an amazing person, Jennifer Pasloff. She was a little backstory on her. She lived in LA. She was a waitress for 20 plus years. She struggled with depression. She also is hard of hearing. And she wanted to be an actor. And she ended up becoming this author, this huge teacher that goes all around the world and helps people connect with their humanity and all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm doing this workshop. And the thing that we all had this exercise, we had to write down on a piece of paper, what is it we wanted to manifest? And in that point in time, I was just coming off of 2 audiobooks that literally landed in my lap. When I say that, somebody walked into the yoga studio, a producer of Audible, and said, I hear that you have a theater background. Would you be interested in doing these young adult audiobooks? And I go, yeah, I wasn't making shit for money. I'm like, get me out of here. Like, so I borrowed Kate's car and I would go to Monterey like every 3 or 4 days out of the week. And I would record these books. In retrospect, they're shit. I listen to them now. They're awful. You know what? I got paid for them. I got this experience. I got to like learn the process. So that's what I wrote on this piece of paper, Sam. I'm like, I want to meet a voiceover coach to help me create my career. In that workshop, I met Alexa. Alexa knew Alyssa. Alyssa lived in New York City, Alyssa Zia, and she's a huge voiceover artist. And she became the first person I met in New York City when I moved there. And she was my coach. And she started me on my path. And from that moment, I met all the right people. All the right people were in my path. And the man that I was with at the time supported me. He was my angel because I didn't have much money to my name. I think I had like $400 in my bank account. I was living with him in 56th Street and 2nd Avenue down in Brooklyn. He had a very well-paid job. And I said, I am coming to you with nothing. I need help. I didn't have my community. I didn't have anything like I have now.
Yeah. Right.
So he gave me that support. And I think it's really hard when you don't have support, financially especially. So I had that support, and I used to feel shame about that. I don't feel shame about that anymore because I felt like I was a burden.
I get it. Somebody gave me a gift recently, and I spoke to somebody, and I have a hard time accepting gifts at all from anybody. That's very hard. And I spoke to somebody else about it. Should I take it? Should I give it back? Blah, blah, blah. And they said, it was a gift. You didn't ask for our money. You didn't blah, blah, blah. Say thank you. That's it. And it's like, oh God. So I'm grateful for you that you got to let go of that shame and feeling like a burden, and that it took you to where
that shame component, that's some heavy, hard shit to move through. That's really hard.
It's very, very core. That is so core.
So core. And I love, the show Big Mouth that Nick Kroll created?
Yes.
So the shame monster, the shame guy. I love that show so much, because if you can just name your shame and give it a costume, give it a voice. Who's going to voice shame for you?
Right.
Play with your shame and your guilt and your hatred. And if we're actors, cast somebody in that role, and then put on
probably more there than
and just go have a scene with it. That's all you can do. It's a game. We have to treat this life like a game and try to find ways to have fun with this stuff that feels so heavy. It's hard to do.
Yes.
Not a cure-all for everybody, but it's just something that works for me.
No. It's funny because there have been different points in my healing and growing. There have been times where I had to try and love the parts of myself that, like, those negative voices, those, messages, that I had to love them and be compassionate. And then there were times where I needed them to be a monster. I needed to give them an identity and go, fuck you. You don't control me. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, and I had to get angry. Yeah. And it depends. Different strokes, different folks, different days. But it's part of healing for me.
I'm on my cycle, it's like, I know there's 2 weeks out of the month, I'm really great. Really great. There's this exercise that right? 2 weeks, amazing. Because there's different phases of our cycle as women, and they each produce different things. The more you know about yourself, it's a blessing and a curse. The more you know.
The more you know. It's like what channel is that?
Reading Rain.
The more you know. It ends the show.
It should end everything we do. Just that beautiful rainbow, that bright shining star. We're all made of that.
Yeah.
The rainbow bridge. I thought about this last night, and I wanted to share that rainbow bridge.
Yeah.
That spiritual mindset is like, we go to this beautiful rainbow bridge.
Yeah.
We see the people that we love on the other side. And I thought life is both heaven and hell. And it's about building that bridge. So when you're in the hell, the tools to help get you over to heaven, or at least to find the middle. I'm really learning how to find the middle between both.
That's everything.
That's everything. And I had to go into extreme places to bring myself here. And that's life. You have to visit those places.
I agree with you, especially for me, when my footing is so much in a comfortable pattern that I don't know how to find the middle ground. I just shared this with my brother the other day. I remember, because I was always such a smiley face, I remember I was bartending, and
such a good bartender, I can tell.
That's what I actually sucked at
oh my God.
I sucked at bartending because it was so hard for me to figure out making the drinks while I had a full Saturday night bar and I was trying to socialize. Yeah. But I made good money. But I remember the first time I had my service bar was at a restaurant. And the waitress was at the end, and I heard her say Sammy, blah, 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 blah. Like I wasn't making drinks quick enough for her or whatever. Yeah. And normally I just would be like, oh, I'm sorry. And across the bar, I was like, forgot her name, Susie Q, whatever the fuck. I was like, yeah, Susie Q, is that not fast enough for you? How would you like no drinks? Or whatever I said, but it was way over. It was yelled across the bar, what, bitch? And it was the first time I ever stuck up for myself, really, and it was whoa, I had the chills even thinking about it. It was this powerful. Now I've more so learned the balance of being assertive without being aggressive. But in order to get out of being a smiley face, I had to figure out my voice. No, I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes those people that you were directing it towards, they might not be there anymore. But but yes, you got to go big to then reel it in. And as I get older, I'm really trying to figure out how be assertive, but not push people away in that assertiveness, how to not be condescending and mean. Because living with my mom, we are a lot alike. And I see myself in her. The things that I don't like, I see in her. And I've said things that were very mean. And I thank God I have my brother Colin, and I call him up and be like, oh my God, I need so much help with mom. Like, and he will be he's that wonderful combination of that gentleness, but also not tough. Like, it's a gentle toughness. Like, Jenna, you were really there. Like, you need to apologize to mom. And I'm like, you're right. I do. You're right. I do.
It's like truth, but not given to you with the bat, given to you with like a spoon.
This is not what you say. It's how you say it with me. It's your tone. It's your tone. I have been so mentally ill by people who have said, it's how they said things to me.
Yep.
And it can feel so abusive.
Oh, it's the way.
It's the way.
I'm so sensitive to that. Go ahead, please.
So sensitive to tone and how people, and they may not mean something harsh by
it.
Intention was not, and I've said that before. It wasn't my intention.
It wasn't my intention.
But it came across to that person, and how that person feels is real.
Yep.
That's another thing. When I had to, with self-hatred and shame, I had to start owning my feelings and naming them and sharing them.
Yep.
Be like, these are real. That there's intelligence behind this.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I know. There was my old therapist who was like my everything. He knew me better than anybody else in the world. I worked with him for like 15 years, and he passed away. That's my doorbell.
Hello. Are you getting? What are you getting? Or did you order some food?
No, thank you. So you're hearing my doorbell, guys.
I love
probably
it.
some Amazon shirts that I'm going to wind up returning because I buy 30 of them in every color and every size, and then I go, I'll pick that one. That looks good, and then I send them all back.
I love it.
It's so stupid. So sorry about the doorbell ringing.
Totally
but so Norm, who was my therapist, he would always I'd be like, I was saying this to somebody the other day. I'd be like, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was just in the worst mood, and it's like, and he'd be like, it wasn't out of nowhere, and it wasn't. I'm like, for no reason. I was so upset and angry, and I just wanted to cry. And he's like, probably wasn't for no reason. Like, do you remember what happened before? And then this became like a practice, but retracing my steps, like, oh, earlier that day, like an hour before, a coworker belittled me. And I wasn't aware when it happened, but it stays there. When you wake up,
steps.
When you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, I remember him teaching me this. He's like, that's not for nothing. You were processing stuff in the middle of the night in your dreams that you're not aware of, that probably the gook is still there, you know?
That was for Norm, that was my Elizabeth Gilbert moment with the jackhammers and hummingbirds. When Norm or somebody like Elizabeth or somebody just says something, it frees you. It's finding people in our life that can do that for us.
Yep.
And you got it. And it's like when you go to the bookstore, you find the authors, you find the people that just make you, oh, that's what it is. I've had to learn what things are because I couldn't articulate it. With my voice, I always struggled. Like, I don't know how to communicate what I'm feeling to myself. I can't communicate it to my partner. That's that, and that frustration, that area in between two people when you're having a hard time speaking the English language, but you're not making any progress. You're not communicating. You're not hearing what it is. Such a hard place to be in.
It's so hard.
And then with acting and all this, it's all about making the other person important. It's about communicating, creating that energy, that sizzle.
Yep. And the awareness of what I'm feeling and why, and what brings me to feeling that. Like,
you'll appreciate this. I got really into Shirley MacLaine around like June. Shirley MacLaine has a book out called Going Within that she wrote, I believe, in the 70s or 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, Going Within. And she's a fascinating woman. She's another one, and I think I'm correct when I say this, she wasn't really comfortable about calling herself an actor. She was all these things, and she used to hang out with the Rat Pack in Vegas.
Yeah?
She traveled. She kind of did things as an actor in a very unconventional way. It was
That's
the
my way.
Relationship she had. It's the relationship she's had. I think when I say actors, when you're on set, I really want to mention this. When you're on set, you have so many different kinds of people. And I see a lot of actors just sit in their chair, scrolling their phone, getting ready for the next thing. And they're not present with what is and all the opportunities that are right there. I have gotten jobs from talking to clients, from getting off my ass and talking to them at Crafty. Not because I was opportunistic, but because I'm talking and actually I care about what you do. I'm having a genuine exchange. We're all part of the process, right? So let's talk about the process. So what have you been working on this year?
Yep.
Like, how's it going for you? Oh, you need voice. Oh, well, I do voiceover as well. So here's my card. It's that easy.
Yep.
It's that easy. And when you walk in the room and audition, win the room. Well, you got to be a person first. You see people that have been there for probably 8 hours. They're tired. There's no windows. I'd be a grump. And then, maybe you come in with I've come in with coffee sometimes. Not be just if I had a moment where I'm like, what, I'm really tired. But you don't have to do that. But just like walking in and acknowledging, like, how's the day going for you?
Yeah.
And then it's not about you.
Exactly. I say that to my students and people I coach all the time, that like everything in life, right? But if I can go in with the mindset of not what can I get out of this, but what can I give to this? How can I be of service? So I go in to do an audition. How can I be of service to this piece that they're trying to do, to the other actor that I might go in with? How can I be of service? Instead of, I want to get this. What can I do? What are they going to like about me? As soon as I'm in me, I'm done.
Yeah. And you can feel it in the room. When you walk into an audition office, you can feel the me's and you can feel the we's. You feel it right away.
Yeah.
When people are coming up to me and they're checking in, I just go, okay, I already know.
I know. It's amazing.
No,
it's amazing. There's so many. It's such a good point that you made, Jenna, because like I'll be on set, or even just when I'm casting and stuff, and you look down the line, and horns honking, New York City, guys. And literally, you just look. Somebody has their phone like this, and if you just look all the way down, every single person is just on their phone. I grew up without cell phones, and I so wish we could go back. I think it is so harmful to our humanity. It like breaks my heart. And, it's just, and like talking to other people, be a human. That's most of the things I've gotten. I swear to God, I've worked castings and I've booked being on set in that spot just from casting, from being with the people. Doorbell.
Like, we love your energy. Like it was easy. A lot of these things that happen to you, they actually didn't require much effort.
That's what, and Jenna, did you have to get going? Oh wait, we still have a few minutes?
I have about 15 minutes.
Okay. So, we've got a few more things. I wanted to, oh yeah, by the way, there's a book I wanted to tell you about. And I don't know if you've read it before. I read it years ago, but, I want to read it again. It's called The Gift of Our Compulsions. And it's by, I believe it's Mary O'Malley. And it's pretty much exactly what you were talking about, that when these things happen, when I feel a certain way, when I'm reactive or act out, that's actually a window to be able to grow and see myself clearer. And it's so literally, it talks about all that shame and hatred and all these things that we think are the worst things about ourselves that we can't stop doing, or like you spoke about the food and all these things that we do to harm ourselves or block ourselves. Instead of
ignore ourselves,
exactly.
Oh, I'm going to go out with that guy. I'm going to have sex. I'm going to do this. It's easier.
Exactly. Because it's a symptom of just something else outside of here. It's a symptom. Yeah. And so she just talks about, instead of like using those, like, and without being judgmental, just being objective, being aware. And it's a really, I read it years ago, but it was a beautiful, like eye-opening book.
That sounds really valuable. And it reminds me of like witness consciousness, like just being the observer, not judging, but just looking down at yourself and like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
The movie that's unfolding.
Yes. Yeah. It's exactly.
It's great awareness. And I think in acting and in this field that we're in, learning about human behavior, people are so curious about human behavior. That's why New York City is so rich, and the people that we watch every day on the subway, everything. It's so, the abundance.
There's some times where I am so grateful I have my Kindle. Well, I haven't been on the subway in a gazillion years, but when I was on the way home after a long casting day, if I hear somebody chew their goddamn gum next to me, I'm going to punch them in the goddamn mug. So like, I need to zone out. There are my moments where I'm like, I don't want to be part of humanity. And that's fair.
Oh yeah.
But I have to be aware to not just block out humanity every chance I get.
Oh, because they're annoying as fuck. Like humans are annoying as fuck.
Fuck.
They're amazing. They're all these things. I'm a tree person. Like I prefer trees. Hands down.
Ditto. Okay. But it's amazing. Nobody would ever think that about you because you're so outgoing, effervescent.
Nobody would. But we're all here together. So we have to figure this out and each other. And we're all part of the human race. But when I was being very social with nature all throughout the summer, and I would visit my Japanese maples, and I'm like, see, you guys, just like you provide shade, you have this beautiful network that's running below and above, and like, I'm so connected.
It's the best. I just want that every day. I'm so happy you're there. Go ahead. And then
I'm so happy I'm here too. I'm so happy I made the choice because I struggled with that. The guilt of like, so if I leave Astoria, I'm taking a risk. I'm losing momentum with my career. I'm gonna maybe that comes off as reckless or irresponsible. I needed to be with my family. I needed to get out of, I was just feeling so depressed and so just like, and I'm just kind of sitting in this like pity pool.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I got into action. I got some wonderful subletters and it all happened. I put it out there and the right people came. They're taking care of the place while I'm here in Arizona.
Wonderful.
Being with my family has been some of the best. It's been some of the biggest silver linings has been spending time with my close family and friends. They're it's tough. I haven't been my mom's roommate since I was in high school. And then my stepdad on top of that.
Oof, and I was going to ask you about that. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It took a lot of adjustment. First of all, the first month I'm coming off from being like in post-traumatic stress from the pandemic.
Seriously.
The only time I knew was 7 p.m. and like just being in my own head all goddamn day, this bad neighborhood. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot watch Tiger King. I can't watch this shit. I can't do this. Like, no.
I say that all the time. Bad neighborhood. It's like the most dangerous neighborhood in between these 2 years.
Yeah. Eating all the bread. I wasn't doing my fitness stuff. I wasn't doing all the things I know that keep me center and in the middle. Because I thought I could just like rebel. But no.
I know.
It's like when you're on medication, don't get off the medication.
Yes. You can't just get off that cold turkey.
Because I've tried. I've done it many times because I'm weird with pills. I'm like, I'm good. I'm feeling great. Like, I don't.
Then it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just an acclimation. I learned there's a lot of things. After the first month and the second month, things became easier. Mom and I had some really great conversations. We never went to bed angry. You know,
it's all where it's at.
Oh, whoa! And I feel so fortunate. I have so many just wonderful people in my life. I'm really beyond fortunate, and and I'm really glad I'm here. And more families coming in. That's why I'm leaving in a little bit to go pick up my nephew.
Beautiful.
And you know, and we've got
amazing
Thanksgiving and Christmas and I'm so thankful for conversations like this.
Ditto.
I just really am.
I'm so happy that you reached out. I'm so happy we got to connect. And before I let you get going to pick up your auntie, I have a question for you. And there's a portion of my show, which is called The Feather in Your Cap. And by feather in your cap, I mean something you've learned, maybe a success or an achievement, something that you've brought with you that may serve you in the future, that maybe has already served you. And I wanted to know if you had one or if one comes to mind that you'd be willing to share with our viewers and listeners.
Ooh, feather in my cap. The word forgiveness comes to mind. It's been a major word for me this year. Forgiving myself for all the times I didn't love myself, because I extend it to others. So I'm just learning how to extend that white feather to myself. And that's a big major thing. So, if you have to write that down on a rock, if you have to scribble it on a piece of paper in your journals every day. But I think it's like finding that word. It's always hard for me to find one word because I have several things floating through my head. That's been the biggest feather in my cap lately, is forgiveness. Yeah.
It's a solid one.
Pretty good, right?
That's what.
Pretty good.
It's a great reminder.
The biggest F word out. Yeah. Yep.
It's funny because I speak to somebody and I talk about like forgiving and resentments I have. And one of the biggest ones is towards myself. And I always have to work on that forgiveness. I constantly am. So that's a beautiful one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And even just saying it out loud, I forgive myself. And asking for help. I love Anne Lamont's reading. She always says, there's the three great prayers are thank you, wow, and help. Help me. So I do that a lot too. I say help me out loud when I'm getting in my little, like when you're like a Roomba, when you're like a vacuum cleaner, just going everywhere,
I know. I know it too well.
Out of control because there's something going on within, but you're just like, just keep spinning. Like,
no,
help me.
Help me. I know. Oh my God. The Serenity Prayer, I don't do the whole God thing, but I say the Serenity Prayer. I always just say it without God. And then it's like, for me, it's just like universe.
Yeah.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's just like that. I swear to God, if I can't fall asleep, I will repeat that over and over in my head and I fall asleep. Finally, it's one of the only things that works sometimes.
Those simple things, even like a nursery rhyme, just coming back to basics, treating ourselves like these beautiful little specks of, like the children. I'm so connected to my child energy. That's why I love like The Little Prince, and I love picture books, and I love being around children and children's voices. And I think just really approaching ourselves with the way we would approach a small child, our loved ones, is really important. Really important.
It really is. Thank you.
I would love to see a picture of you when you were a little one. I bet you had scrunchies and hairbands just like, I think you looked a lot alike.
You wouldn't believe this. I was platinum blonde.
What?
And had pin straight hair for like.
You have to send me this photo.
Bizarro, right? Like I had pin straight, silky, platinum hair.
Okay.
And then
send me that one. I'll send you when I was like highlighting my hair all the freaking time in LA.
I have to see this. We're going to do a little exchange.
Mm-hmm. It was very SJP. It was like, very.
I've had every color hair. It's insane.
And then a lot of the straight hair. Because I used to hate my girls, and now I love them. Our hair is amazing. We have
amazing hair. Owning that crap. But just to call, and then we're wrapping this up. But Jenna, like, just got her hair cut. Like, it takes courage and openness to be that gorgeous, to cut curly hair that short, had it be vibrant. Like, it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love it so much.
Bigger.
We're gonna have to talk about curly hair routines, because this is what curly hair girls do, and maybe I'll put a
spin off. Yes, we'll do a little spin on the bow.
Yeah, a little exactly
to get this.
So gorgeous. I freaking love you. Jenna, tell us where we can find you, where we can keep up with you. And guys, I'll post it with the episode as well, in case you're, like not paying attention like you do, because you're probably on your phone.
Right.
Go ahead.
If you want to keep talking about any of the stuff that resonated here, hit me up on Instagram at Jenna Robino. Just Google Jenna Robino, jennarobino.com. I like my name, so I use it on everything. So at Jenna Robino.
It's so smart. It's so much easier. Everything mine is just Samantha Jane Tilton or Big Face Podcast.
Love it. Big Face.
Big Face. That we'll talk about why this is called Big Face. We'll talk about that.
Wait.
But
this has been a joy.
This has been so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for just bringing me back down to earth for today. And Yeah. Really just thank you for the joy of this. It's been beautiful. And
to have this space, because we've always been in our own, we've been moving around each other, and
yes.
we've never had this space to really connect, but we always felt like it was there.
Always.
Looked at each other and they're just like, I see you. There's a kindredness
yes.
here. And so we did it right now. So thank you for creating this space to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for making this happen. I'm so glad you reached out. And there's so much more. I already know that there's so much more. So thank you. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching. We love you. We appreciate it.
Share, subscribe, share.
Listen to that girl. She knows what to do.
Right. Share. Copy. Send it. Come on. Don't be selfish.
Keep us all connected, baby.
We're building this thing, okay? We're not a part of one. Share, subscribe, hit subscribe.
That's
thumbs up.
And with this girl too, follow, website, all that stuff. If you want an ounce of the energy, be in touch with this girl. She's got it all. She made my day better.
Right, I'll give you your dose of vitamin J every day.
I love it.
I think I might create.
This is fantastic. Oh my God. I have to get all these handles.
Right here. Lifestyle hair.
We're going to have hair.
Health, nutrition.
Guys, just stay tuned. In like 2 days, you're going to have like 1 billion links by Jenna.
But I won't be talking like this. I do like just
unless she feels like it, and then she will, because she can honor that.
Multiple accents all the time.
Yes. Oh my God. Amazing. We talked about this the other day. We're going to let Jenna go be with her family and pick up her aunt. But guys, thank you, Jenna. Thank you. We love you. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Yay.